Thanks for coming out. I'm going to shout at you. I want to thank you for coming out tonight on this beautiful evening on the 13th. It is absolutely gorgeous sunset out there that we can enjoy through the windows. And it is good to be here at Waterloo Music and Video. And I guess I could rant and rave and give you a speech about the New World Order if you like. Or I could just go ahead and go right to questions and then sign DVDs. What would you guys and gals like? I'm not that tired. I'm not that tired. I'll give you a good rant, sir. Is that your son or daughter?
You met her when she was in the womb over on South Congress.
Yeah, that's right. You were over there playing the guitar. You over there playing the guitar and singing on South Congress, and your wife was pregnant. That was just 3 or 4 months ago. Boy, she's big. Look at her looking around. Look at that baby. The New World Order wants to be God. If you go back to Nebuchadnezzar 3,500 years ago, or you look at Pharaoh trying to say that all the firstborn children had to be sacrificed, these are all modes of control, and the elite throughout history have always sought to get immortality. I don't know if that's true, but the elites of this planet certainly believe that. And they are operating under that view. So we have to address what their mindset and what their beliefs are. And their stated manifest beliefs are that humanity is a scourge. You know, Endgame covers how the elite believe that they are going to transcend humanity and become their own species. And finally, now it's actually in the mainstream news where they're openly talking about this. It's been in the press quite a bit. Some of you may have heard of it. And then you actually look at the activities of the global elite. Everything they're doing actually destroys the planet, hurts the environment, and hurts humanity. And the truth is, they're a bunch of inbred, elitist scum who don't have the fortitude to basically, be janitors, much less guiding and controlling our planet. In Endgame, we do cover in detail how President Bush, the puppet of this global banking cartel, has declared himself to be above the Congress during any type of emergency. And anybody can check this out for themselves. In the Presidential Decision Directive of May 9th, 2007, President Bush says the Congress isn't involved in the continuity of government. Then a few months later, in Canada, up in Ottawa, he openly announced publicly that the United Nations is going to be over continuity of government and deal with emergencies inside the United States. Just on Friday, they had a senatorial hearing where they equated 9/11 truth, those that question the official 9/11 story, now the majority of Americans, and people like Robert Baer, high-level CIA, saying all the evidence points towards an inside job, that if you say that, you're a terrorist. And then if you say that, you're aiding terrorists. When we're saying the opposite, we're pointing out that the military-industrial complex has the means and the motive, and then all the evidence points towards them carrying out the attack. So at one level, it's very depressing what's happening, but at the other, it's very exciting because we know that they are now being forced to respond and say, okay, we're getting rid of the First Amendment. Okay, we're going to try to curtail the Second Amendment. Okay, you don't have a Fourth Amendment. So from the 10th Amendment to the First Amendment, and right through all 10 of those original amendments, we have an establishment that is openly telling us that we don't have any liberties or any freedoms. They are openly declaring themselves the tyrants. They are openly declaring themselves enemies of the people and traitors to this constitutional republic. And that type of open declaration of war against free humanity demands an aggressive and sustained response. And that's why I commend you, and I thank you, and I salute you for being here tonight in defense of liberty. And when you read the Royal Commission, 1944 to 1949, commissioned by the King of England, tens of millions of pounds spent to fund it, and when they talk about their plan for the next 100 years in population reduction and population extermination, they're honest in that key seminal blueprint document. They don't say it's about helping the earth. They don't say it's about helping humanity. They don't say it's about helping little black African children. They say it is about the elites based in Europe, England, and the United States maintaining and expanding their global domination through the central banks. And we know it's going to make their population explode, so we want to stir up wars and famine to kill them off instead of giving them industry and jobs so that they become sustainable. It is actually a recipe that has caused hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, close to 1 billion deaths of infants and young children by their very policy, and has let these third world populations burn down innumerable forests and grasslands and totally destroy the area they live in. The global elite is doing the opposite of what it would take from all the major studies to actually stabilize this planet's multifaceted, multivariate ecosystems. Sometimes these foods we eat, some of these potatoes and corn, might have 50, 60, 70 different species in them. And each time, and I've interviewed Nobel Prize winners, scientists on this subject, read the papers, this is a fact, each time they change one gene in those crops, they can control that expression and that gene and what it does, but that it randomly, each time the plants replicate, creates thousands of new random mutations, and in every case creates new amino acids that have never existed on this planet. There was 54 amino acids just a decade ago. There are hundreds now. Our bodies can't absorb them. They're poisoning us. They're poisoning the environment. These cross-species engineer hybrids are jumping all through different species layers and have spread across the globe. Is the global elite worried about all the open-air testing and pollination of these, or are eating them? No. They come to us, and it's covered in Endgame, and tell us that carbon dioxide must have global taxes placed on it. What is carbon dioxide? Water, carbon dioxide, and oxygen are the three main building blocks of light, plus solar radiation, on this planet. Without those three building blocks and the outside solar radiation, there would be complete death on this planet, no life. Plants breathe carbon dioxide. So what do? They come in and declare that a life-giving gas is a poison because it's what animals expel in our respiration. It's what plants breathe. It's attacks on life, on a human footprint, on our lives, with a social worker assigned to each and every one of us to regulate and control what we do and how we live. Meanwhile, the military openly, thousands of times, in one case dumped 63 million gallons of nerve gas off the coast of North Carolina, covered in this film. Constant genetic engineering, constant cutting down of the rainforest, thousands of true environmental holocaust. And they take our innate concern that we know in our gut for this earth, and they take it and they expropriate it and they focus it into this fraud of a global tax on carbon dioxide. They said 40 years ago they would have taxes on carbon dioxide. First in the 60s, the Club of Rome said, we'll claim there's going to be an ice age if they don't restrict it. Then they said, we'll claim there's man-made global warming, and we'll do it. When NASA studies and all the studies that no one trumpets shows that the sun has been intensifying in its thermal output in the last 20 years and is intensifying and growing in how much energy it puts out. That is what is in tune, causing more life on the planet, more plankton blooms that then expel more carbon dioxide, that then put more oxygen into the environment. Oxygen and carbon dioxide are very small pieces of our biosphere. They are key life-giving gases. And when you find out that Al Gore and the rest of them, whether they believe it or not, the top scientists above it know what they're doing, and when you read the actual UN, Club of Rome, Bilderberg Group documents about how they cold-bloodedly are setting up this tax, you realize they're doing nothing about all the serious environmental problems we face, and they're simply giving us a solution that is a fraud.